Hi, beautiful people. I'm Sissy and life coach, motivational speaker, and welcome to my channel, Wellness. Today, we're talking about fasting in relation to wellness. Now, fasting has become very popular, not only for religious reasons, because most of the people in the past you thought and used fasting for religious purposes, like the Islamic people who use it for Ramadan, and the Ramadan is when they fast, and it tends to bring them closer to God. It's meant to bring you closer to God, and then also Christians as well. So fasting was always used or even seen as just for the purpose of religion, the practice of restricting yourself from eating for a certain period of time. So fasting is it's not starving. Fasting is just restricting yourself from eating for a certain limited time or period of time. Fasting is one of the oldest wellness practices in human history. I repeat it, it's one of the oldest wellness practices in human history. For thousands of years, people have fasted for spiritual reasons, for cultural reasons, for religious reasons, and also for health reasons and other reasons as well. Long before modern nutritional science, many scientists practiced periods without food or on a daily basis to try and learn what really happens to the human body when you restricted food at certain times of the day. Now we live in a modern world. Now remember, in the past, the world was not modern. We didn't have a commercialized system. Food was for basically scarcity. It wasn't everywhere. You couldn't go walk into a shop. There were no malls at the time. You had to work long hours for food, planting the food, taking care of your cattle and your stock. So you're able to have meat, for example. You understand? So these things made food less available. So people were focusing on action, on activities. We moved a lot in the past. Our ancestors were farmers. They were nomadic people most of the time. And when they became settled and started living in one place, then they started planting their food and also taking care of their animals to get the food as well. So now we live in a modern world whereby fasting is not very popular because of the fact that food is so available. In the past, we fasted by default because food was not always available 24 by 7. We had to wait. And even before the farming stage, when we were hunters and nomadic hunters, our ancestors hunted for food, and maybe it'll take you 3 days hunting down the animal that you went to kill to eat. Okay, so we spent long times and long periods without food, 3 days. Sometimes in bad seasons, maybe 5 days, even a week before you get food for the whole tribe to eat. You understand? So you actually worked very hard for your food. Now we have a modern system where you go work in an office. Your job is just keeps you sitting all day long, and then you go to shopping mall to buy food, and food is available freely as long as you have the cash. But in the past, it wasn't like that. So fasting was something we did naturally. But now with the modern world, it's a bit different. Now we eat 3 times a day. Sometimes we eat 3 times a day with snacks in between. So people can eat as much as 6 times a day. So food is now commercialized. Hello, sweetie pie, how are you doing? Is it your name is spelled with a J, but I know it with an X, which is a Xavier or something like that. Anyway, how are you, my love? You hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining my live. Today we're talking about fasting and the evolution of fasting. Fasting is a wellness practice. Our ancestors never eat as much as we ate. We eat now. We eat 3 times, sometimes more than 3 times a day. We have snacks in between because food is all freely available. But in the past, our ancestors have to hunt, have to work hard for their food. And most of the people didn't have time to just sit and watch TV because there was no television. Children, even adults, were outside most of the time in the sun working, tilling the ground, doing activities because there was no technology that kept you inside the house and kept you stationary, sedentary, doing nothing. Now we have a system whereby we have more obesity, we have more health sicknesses based on the amounts of foods we were eating and the types of foods we were eating. So food's not only in plentiful, it's also highly processed as well. Now we have foods like we got GMOs in our food and stuff like that, because as we advance as human beings, we want to try and always experience and experiment at different ways of making our fruits more sweeter, our fruits to grow in a shorter period of time, things like that. So our scientists have been playing around with that type of technology, right? So fasting, the history of fasting, as I said, humans have likely experienced natural fasting throughout evolution because food was not always available. Many religions and traditions later incorporate fasting as a way to develop discipline, gratitude, spiritual awareness, or compassion. Now, in the Christianity realm, in Christianity, fasting during Lent and other religious observations is popular. All right, so fasting is also used in Christianity. And then also in Islam as well, fasting is from dawn to sunset during Ramadan, in the month of June, July, but normally June. For a whole month, they have that fasting from dawn to sunset, and then have a big celebration when they're eating. The whole families and get together and they celebrate the breaking of the fast every evening. And as soon as your fast is broken at the end of your meal, you know that you're starting again another fast because you go to bed, you'll sleep, and then you'll get up again early. And I think they have that morning meal as well at 6 o'clock or before 6, apparently, to prepare their bodies for the next couple of hours of fasting. So in Ramadan, you can say that something like an intimate uh, intermittent fasting for a whole month in Ramadan. And then in the Jewish traditions, they use it as well. They have holy days whereby they do fast. And then Hinduism also uses this as well, right? And then also Buddhism also does a bit of fasting as well. You can say alternate or intermittent fasting. Okay, now let's continue. Although they fast for different reasons, every religion or every culture fast for different religions is also associated with self-discipline, with self-reflection and intentional with intention. Now, the different types of fasting in the modern world, like everything else, human beings, we have kind of fine-tuned our fasting and given it different type of flavors. Now we have the 16-8, whereby you eat 8 hours and now you fast 8 hours, isn't it? Now you eat 8 hours and fast 16 hours. So your fasting period must always be longer than your eating hours, right? So your eating window is smaller and your fasting window is bigger. So you can get the benefits of fasting. So you have 8 hours um, of eating and 16 hours of fasting. Now that's a very popular regime in the modern way of fasting, and it's all over the internet. A lot of people have benefited from this type of fasting. Okay, now the 16-8 method, as I said, is one of the most popular forms of time restriction eating, because we have food in our fingertips and food is everywhere, it's easily accessible. Now we start having intentional fasting, unlike before with our ancestors, whereby they fasted because there wasn't food around, so they kind of fasted by default. But now we have intentional fasting. Now ultimate day fasting is one of the popular ones, alternating between feasting and fasting days. Okay, so one day you'll eat, the next day you'll fast, right through the week. It limits the amount of calories. It limits your the time that your body is busy digesting food, because your body needs rest. So in the period of rest, your body can now use its resources and energy to heal you instead of being busy with digestion. That's why fasting is so helpful, right? On a health level, on a mental level as well, because it gives your mind something else to think on other than what I'm going to eat, going shopping and preparing food. And now you're fasting, you're resting. You can now do other things and allow your body to do what it needs to do to heal you, to heal your cells, instead of being focusing on digestion. It takes a lot of energy for our body to digest food. And the more the processed the food is, the more energy it needs. So, like for example, if you eat a raw vegan, like a lot of fruits and vegetables, you don't use as much energy as if you eat maybe like animal protein. And it's just a fact because protein needs more energy to process it, right? So it takes more of your body energy to process it. So fasting is a great way to also heal yourself. It also can be used as a healing mechanism, right? Not only in the mental, but also in the physical capacity as well. There's a lot of institutions, health institutions that are using fasting to help people with different ailments like obesity, high blood pressure, even diabetes as well, if it's done in a proper way. Right now, if you're thinking of fasting, my lovies, please consult your doctor first because I'm not a doctor. Disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. I'm speaking through my own experience, what my knowledge of experiencing fasting, the different types of regimes. I've done ADF. I've done a 7-day fasting. I've done 5-day fasting with water. And I've done up to 12 days fasting with water with no calorie intake for 12 days besides water. So I've done all these things, right? So I'm talking through my own experience and they can help people on a level of them getting a better relationship with food. So sometimes the first thing you think about when you get up in the morning, you had supper last night, but the first thing you're thinking about when you get up in the morning is food. When you ate last night, your body hasn't even had a chance to be hungry, but because you have food noise, that's why people go in and take uh, the GPL-1 medications like Ozempic and others because of the noise, the food noise. Because when you do something continuously and it's always in your face and always thinking about it, it affects your choices and your thoughts, okay? So the other method you can use is the 5-2 method, right, which is not that popular, right? Eating normal 5 days per week and reduce your calorie intake for 2 days. So 5 days you'll eat normal, and in the last 2 days you reduce your calorie intake. In other words, for the first five days you'll eat your all 3 meals, okay, and then the next 2 days maybe you will eat an OMAD meal, 1 meal a day, instead of you eating 3 meals or 2 meals a day. But most people eat much more than 3 meals a day because you got to count the snacking in between. Anything that's going in your mouth and it's a calorie. It can be no matter how small. Remember, an item might look small, but when you count the calories in there, it's a bigger amount of calories that you're consuming. So these are things we need to understand and learn about food. And it still amazes me. You can have a 1,300 calories meal that you're sitting, you're eating in one setting because of the protein, because of the carbs, because of all the sugars in there. And the fiber and the water and whatever you're eating. Remember that the fruits have the fiber and the water and the vitamins. The protein is your meat and your fish and your beans and your legumes, and even broccoli has some protein, right? Now remember you have divided into animal protein and plant protein for you to understand that everything has a bit of protein, but there's more protein in animal products than in plant-based products, right? But there is protein in there anywhere, like in your legumes, in your beans, in your tofu, in your tempeh, there's always a bit of protein there, right? But now we need to differentiate the fact that there is protein in all these things, but different types of protein. Okay, now there's a whole argument about weightlifters not being able to eat plant-based protein, but they can. It has been proven. There's a lot of weightlifters, people that are competitive in weightlifting. They actually are plant-based. It's nice to try these things, instead of you eating the same type of food all the time, try and see what works best for your body. There's no right way of eating when it comes to eating. You gotta focus on what works best for your body and your mind. The energy, it's like you trying different type of fuels you put in your car. Your body is like your vehicle, right? So you need to feed it with fuel, which is gonna be helpful for the body at that time. You understand? So you can try different types of fuels for your body to see which one works for you. When you just finish eating and you feel drowsy and you want to sleep, and then that means the food you're eating is too saturated in carbs. It's spiking your insulin too much. You understand? Now, as a human being, as an adult, you should be learning about the insulin levels and all those things. What happens when you eat and digest, so you can understand exactly what's happening in your body when you consume food. And then you understand, okay, what is fasting? What happens in my body when I stop eating? Now, recently, I just broke my fast this morning, and I've been on a 48-hour fast, but it turned into 60 hours fast because I finished over yesterday and I slept another 8 hours. That added to my fasting period. So I fasted 62-hour fast just now. I just broke it this morning. So I am now eating. Today is my feeding day. I'll eat and then I'll fast another 42-hour fast for the next 2 days. Why am I doing so? Because I'm curious to know how my body will react, how my fat levels will be affected by me fasting with movement and exercise, or without movement or exercise. Now they say that when you are moving your body, it's very important to move your body. However, you consume your calories more when you're eating, and when you're exercising, you are also consuming your calories, right? You are getting rid of the calories by you moving. However, the most important thing is what you eat. Movement is important, yes, but it's an 80-20 ratio. So it's 80% what you eat, and then 20% how you move your body, okay? Because even a person in a wheelchair who's stationary, who's sedentary, can lose weight or lose fat, because most of it is water first. Remember that around every fat cell is water, right? That's why people first lose water weight when they fast, or when they diet, or when they do calorie restriction. So fasting is just calorie restriction for a short period of time. Right now, your body is an animal of habits. It gets adapted to every type of ritual or regime you are following. Right. For example, if when you start eating less calorie dense meals, and you start eating and restricting your calories, your body stops using a lot of energy, because it's preserving the energy, because you're not eating enough, or you're not eating enough according to your weight and your height. Every single person needs different dietary requirements. We're not supposed to be all eating the same thing. Whatever works for Susie down the road will not necessarily work for you. Same with fasting regimes as well. Whatever works for Susie down the road will not necessarily work for you. So you have to try test and trial error type of thing, where you're actually testing what works for you and your body type and the goals that you are actually focusing on. Okay, now we live in a world that's very fickle, and body image and weight is very important to us as human beings. And why I'm saying so, because it's all over social media. So social media explains what we are focusing on, what is our focus, and what's our perception about life. So your body, as it seems, as it looks in clothes, or even when you're in a swimsuit, or even if you're naked, you're always concerned about how you look. Okay, so we are very fickle in that way, but that's just being human. Then why people fast? As I said, for many reasons. People choose to fast for many reasons. Some fast for religious devotion and spiritual growth. That's when I first learned about fasting, when I was in the Christian church. Others fast because they want better eating habits. They want to develop a better eating relationship with their food. The weight or fat loss is another goal. Weight or fat loss is another goal that we use fasting for. Simplifying the idea, your relationship with food. In other words, instead of you always thinking about food, give yourself a break and just focus about other things instead of focusing on what I'm going to eat. Preparing food, buying or purchasing food, it takes a lot of energy. Then also improving your insulin sensitivity. Now remember that when you eat calories, your insulin goes up. Right? Now, if you are constantly eating from morning till evening, from the time you get up in the mornings right through to the evening without any break, your insulin levels constantly high. And medical research has proven that when your insulin level is always high, it then affects you to have medical sicknesses, like, for example, insulin resistance, diabetes 2, I think, yeah. Because a lot of people have a problem with food, with your relationship with food. The more we became more advanced and started having all these methodologies and ways to make food easier and planting more food, growing food, or planting food and growing food in shorter periods of time, a way of manufacturing food faster in a more shorter period of time. The more we as human beings became addicted to food. We all love the feeling of eating. Now, when you eat food, it releases hormones of dopamine, for example, and other hormones that make you feel pleasurable, make you feel happy. So here we are eating to feel happy. We don't see food as a fuel. We see it as a entertainment, a pastime, a way to medicate ourselves as well. That's why obesity is skyrocketed across the globe, especially in America, because people are miserable, unhappy, and it is all this junk food that's easily available and cheaper than whole foods. So it's more available. Even in countries like Eastern countries, they're now beginning to see signs of obesity as well. So fasting helps with reducing obesity because fasting allows you to slow down and be intentional and spend time without focusing and consuming food right through the day, right? And as I said, we have different reasons why we fast. Better eating habits, number one. Weight loss, number two. Simplifying your relationship with food, number three. Number four, improving your insulin level, which is very important. That'll help you on a medical capacity as well. And then mental focus, because when you are fasted for maybe 12 hours to 24 hours, your mental clarity is very clear. Like yesterday, I was in the zone because yesterday was Friday and I was in the zone. I had fasted. I lost 8 on Wednesday. I fasted Thursday. And by Friday afternoon, I was in the zone. I was full of energy. Even sleeping last night, I had a problem because of the fact that I had all this energy because I was fasted. You get my point? I was fasted. So that's the reason why I love fasting, because fasting gives your body that stretch it needs on a mental capacity and also on a physical biological capacity. Gives your body that stretch. Let's stop. Let's focus all our energy on the healing for these hours instead of us focusing on digesting. Okay. Now remember, you gotta be very careful, because if your body starts feeling that you're in starvation mode, then it starts now preserving that energy, starts preserving the fats. It doesn't use it. So you gotta fast with some sort of intelligence and a method. That's why there's different methods. Is that 18, the 6-18, the 5-2, the intimate day fasting, the OMAD fasting as well. For a very long time, I did the 1 day consuming 1 meal a day protocol. That's OMAD. And it worked well for me because number one, I felt light. I wasn't constantly thinking about all the food I'm going to be eating. All I need is to prepare my food for 1 meal for the day, right? And it works very well because it makes you live with intention. When you start focusing on how you're preparing your eating. Now, fasting is not something that's unusual. It's now a way of life. It's a lifestyle that we all should adapt. It's not only a religious practice, it's now a lifestyle, a social lifestyle. Fasting is no more linked to our religions anymore. It's because we're living in a world where food is plentiful and we have a lot of problems like obesity because of food and diabetes and all those things, because food is plentiful now and it's continuously on our mind. And then people now start eating for the dopamine pleasure, for the dopamine boost, so they can feel better about their lives. Abused people that were sexually abused or physically abused are now turning to food. Like how they will turn to drugs. Food is the most available drug they can use. And then now they're eating 24/7. In UK, even being obese is now a sickness, and you even go on medical pension because you're now obese. Something that can be treated with fasting, depending on the person's condition. Again, as I said, if you're interested in fasting, go ahead and consult with your doctor first. You gotta make sure that the physician has seen your body, your blood levels, what's going on with you. But most of the time, they're all gonna ask you before they do the bloods. Tell me your story. Tell me what you're eating. And in most doctors haven't been taught about nutrition, right? The hours of them getting nutrition information, education is very short, unless you are specifically focusing on nutrition. You're a nutritionist and you're focusing on that only, right? Now you go to specialists. So if you have the capacity to and have the resources, go and meet a nutritionist. Your GP may not have the ability or means to give you the advice because he never studied that. They're still going to tell you need to eat 3 meals a day. You still need to eat this and eat that, like the American way of eating or the medical charts of eating right now. You need to be able to, number one, be your own doctor. That's very important. Understand your body. When you are fasting and you have periods of fasting and periods of eating, you're able to understand your digestion. You're able to understand your mind. How am I feeling after I eat high carb or after I eat low carb? When I eat a lot of fruits, how do I feel? How you are your main doctor. So the doctor who's supposed to be a physician who's qualified is depending on you, the doctor of your body, the person who's living in your body, to give the symptoms that you're experiencing or to give your situation so that they can help you. That's why it's important to live with intention. Understand what makes your body feel good, what makes your body feel bad, gives you diarrhea, what makes your digestion stable. You should understand and do the research as well. So your doctor can give you advice, for example, medication, they can take the blood work, things that you cannot do, and they can get all the inner back end stories of what's going on in your life that you don't see in your place in your life, but the doctor can see the blood test, he can see and other symptoms in terms of what the medical history says or the medical infirmity will tell you. You understand? It's important to consult your doctor. As soon as you're in a place where of confusion, where you have done all you can do and you don't know what to do next, you go to a doctor. A doctor can help you, preferably a nutritionist if you can afford it. The GP is a general practitioner. He hasn't specialized. That's why I'm saying the GP is there, that they have value, but they cannot like give you certain information a specialist can give you. That's why they always refer you to a specialist. So everyone's motivation is different when it comes to fasting and why they're fasting. There's no single more valuable or valid reason why people fast, why I fast. For me, fasting is much more than just simple losing weight. It's not about losing weight only. Yeah, that's a wonderful, nice to have. But for fasting for me is because I enjoy the feeling of being intentional with my eating, right? It gives me a sense of structure and helps me decide when I'm going to eat and what I can eat rather than eating automatically or out of habit. All right, because remember that habit, when you do something continuously, even if it doesn't make sense anymore, you just keep on doing it. So I fast because it gives me a sense of intention. I fast because it gives my body a chance to have a break from digesting and focus on other things, because I know my body is a technology, so is your body. Our bodies are sophisticated technology. So you need to understand and listen to your body. You understand, very important as well. So as I said, I'm Sissy, life coach and motivational speaker. If you are new here to my channel, go ahead and consider subscribing to my channel. My channel is about spirituality, self-awareness, self-development, the human condition. Now, fasting and spirituality has been used together for many, many, many years in different cultures and religion, like in Christianity, I mentioned, in Buddhism, in the Jewish practices, and also in the Islamic practices. So fasting is very based on our spirituality, because fasting allows us time to focus on divine source, on spirit, on God, instead of focusing on eating. So now fasting says that I'm now dedicating myself to connecting with source. I'm not dedicating myself to consuming things, because when you are empty and your digestion is empty and your body is not focusing on digesting, it also affects your mind and your consciousness. It makes your consciousness higher. For some reason, it picks up your consciousness because you're more clearer. Your meditations, when you meditate, are going to be much more clear and effective. Okay, you're able to reach spirit on a faster way than if you are full. If your body is full, it becomes a problem. Okay, to fast and prayer is very, very powerful, because now you in that vibration and frequency to connect to the other side, to the spiritual world. That's why fasting has been used a lot in our religions, in all of them, in the most popular ones. And even in Jain, there's a spiritual practice in India called Jainism. Jainism is based on fasting, right? So they really truly believe that fasting connections to the divine. So they fast a lot. Now remember, when you're fasting too much, it also becomes a problem. You need to have a balance. So there's been a few people who actually die because their fasting is it's so stringent and they don't have a medical assistance. So that's why people end up passing away because of the strictness of the fasting. That's why it's very important for you to consult with a doctor. There's a lot of medical institutions that are busy with using fasting to heal their patients as well. So fasting and mental clarity. This is the most important reason why too, that why I love fasting. It gives you mental clarity. Some people report feeling mentally sharper during fasting, like myself, particularly after they have adapted to the routine of fasting. When you first start, it's going to give you stress because you haven't done it before. It's something new. So anything that's new, your body will be stressed out. But when you get into the routine of fasting, your body gets used of it. And then it starts now actually having positive benefits like mental clarity. All right. So as I said, some people report feeling mental clarity, particularly after they have adapted to routine. Research suggests that fasting can be influence your hormones. Now, remember, as human beings, hormones are a big participant of our well-being. Right? Hormone balance is very important. And when you are fasting, it also influences your hormones. It picks them up even to a higher level. You have autophagy and stuff like that comes into play because all those like hormones or through autophagy are actually triggered to be activated during your fasting. Your blood sugar regulation is also becoming normal, flat lines, which is perfect. So it makes your body more healthy and your body use of storage energy. Now your body, instead of it, you filling it with food, it has a chance to eat the stores of fat and energy, glucose that you have in your body. That's the nice thing about fasting. It allows your body to utilize all the stores that you have there on your body in the form of fat and in glucogen stores, and also what you call glucose stores as well, like stores in the liver, right? So it's a beautiful process, very very sophisticated process because our bodies are sophisticated technology, very 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 wonderful technology. I don't think even the doctors and scientists truly understand how the body fully operates. We are learning each year, each decade, they're finding new things, but they're not truly fully understanding the technology called the human body. The blood flow, the heart, the organs, how they all truly work together, how the brain works with the rest of the body, how the heart works with the rest of the body, the lungs, everything in your body. It's quite sophisticated technology that we have here in our disposal. From the skin to the bones to the organs to everything else. It's very, very, very complicated and interesting, right? So when you understand your body and understand what makes you full, what doesn't make you full, what makes you lethargic, what makes you sick, what makes you feel good, what really triggers dopamine when you're eating, all those things. And why are you eating? Are you eating because you are hungry, or are you eating because you are just emotionally sad, or you upset, or you're frustrated, or you're feeling lonely? You got to ask yourself that question when you notice that you are overweight and you're becoming to the point where you're becoming obese. Then you should have that self-reflection where you're writing things down in your journal and asking yourself, instead of you running and grabbing the phone to order food, or opening the fridge to take the food, or taking a packet of chips, whatever, ask yourself, why am I eating? I just had a meal. I had breakfast, I had lunch. Right now I should be doing, engaging in other things, go for a walk, I can be reading a book, I can go play tennis, I can, whatever I need to do, I can meditate. Why am I thinking about food? You should ask yourself that question. But before you get to that point, you need to have self-awareness. So most people are not self-aware. So they end up going to the fridge and eating. That's why fasting is important, because fasting allows you to stop that for a period of time. And in that period of fasting, you learn a lot about yourself and your relationship with food. Remember, fasting is not forever. It's for a short period of time, so you can have that break and allow your body to heal, and you also to connect with yourself and your body. Your body is your friend, not your enemy. Your body's not working against you, and neither is your mind. Your mind is not your enemy, it's your friend. It's not working against you. It's working with you and for you, and so is your body. So you need to be able to have that relationship. So I think that fasting allows you to have that relationship with your mind and your body. And it's very important. You're not your mind or your body. If you are thinking you are mind and your body, then you are really in a confusion state, a state of confusion, because you're not your mind, neither are your body. These are the things that you have. It's like having, how would I say? It's like having a shoe. A shoe is not you, but you wear shoes. It's your favorite shoe. The shoe is not you. You have feet. You are not the feet, you have the feet. Same as your mind and your body. Your body is what you have. It's not you. Could be a representation of your energy at any given time, but it's not you. So when you start fasting and praying, if you do using these both methods of prayer and fasting, or meditation, prayer and fasting, you're able to zone down and connect with yourself, right? Your body and your mind, and understand what's in your mind all the time. If it's constantly food, why so? And that can also show up in your health. If you like got diabetes, high blood pressure, you're obese, you're always having chronic sicknesses, chronic pain. It's all most of the time connected to the food you're eating and amounts of food you're eating. That's why I think it's very important for human beings to be focused on fasting. At least every 3 months, you should have fasted maybe twice or once. Like, for example, 2 days, 3 days, even if it's 1 week, and in that 1 week you had an OMAD where you ate one meal a day for that whole week. You know what I'm trying to say? You ate maybe one meal in 7 days. You did maybe OMAD 3 times. That makes it 4 times full eating an OMAD for 3 times. You actually at a time of restriction. Restriction is very important for self-awareness, because we overindulge, it becomes a problem. Remember that in this world, we're gifted food, we're gifted everything. Even have things like alcohol, which are poisonous. We got drugs, we got cigarettes, we got everything, right? But it's us as human beings, we must consciously choose the right food all the time, choose the right things to consume. Smoking is consumption, drinking is consumption, eating is consumption. And what you are consuming with your body is affecting your organs, it's affecting your body on a negative way or even a positive way. Because remember that food has a positive effect, but if it's the wrong foods in wrong quantities at wrong times, it gives you a negative effect. Obesity is overeating unconsciously, maybe even consciously, because at the end of the day, you end up understanding that I'm eating 6 times a day, and I'm eating up to 600 to 1,000 calories for breakfast, for supper, and for lunch. That's 3,000 calories, and maybe you're very short, and your body make is not that big. You don't have enough muscle tone to actually accommodate all that fuel that you're taking. Just remember that the more muscle tone you have, the more protein you need, and your body can actually consume more carbohydrates. I've noticed that people that are shorter, less muscular, smaller bodies don't consume as much as somebody who is much taller, uh 1.8 meters tall, whatever, very tall people and very muscular, like, for example, rugby players or even basketball players. Their type of food eating is different to somebody who's shorter, like myself. So I cannot eat more than 1.3 1.5 calories, 1,500 calories a day, and that's split through 2 meals or 3 meals. If I eat more, obviously I will feel unhealthy. I'll feel sick in my body. So fasting allows you to understand what your body can really handle and consume, and what your body cannot. Because that period of now fasting allows your body to readjust itself. So when you start eating again, you're able to now see how your body is actually taking in and accepting this food. That's why they say that when you break your fast, you mustn't have large amounts of foods. It must not be, for example, high processed foods. You must eat like good, healthy foods, small amounts first, and then you try your second meal again, or even your third meal, small meals, right? And then you start your fast again if you're gonna fast, okay? But fasting is something that's very important in this life now, because now we have so much food available. We don't have what we had before, where there was a struggle. And I'm talking about working class people now, right? There are very poor people out there living in places where they cannot get hold of food, and they kind of find themselves in a fasting state all day, not because they want to fast, but because there's not enough food. But I'm talking about basically to those people that are living in middle class environments where there's plentiful of food, right? And you find that the more there's more food, and then we start abusing that food on an emotional level. We start eating for emotional purposes to numb ourselves, to make ourselves happy. Food is a fuel. It's not something to make you happy. And now we use it for, like, for example, family functions. Every family function, there must be food. Every meeting or function, there must be food. Why so? Why can't it just be jokes and laughter, talking, a good conversation, dancing and music? Because as social beings, we enmesh the way we live with food. Our functions, our birthday parties, our meet and greets with our family and friends, normal casual outings, it has to be food. Because we are social beings and we've connected to foods, our social well-being. Because in the past, and even like not so far ago, right? People, tribes set together as a tribe, as a group, when they ate together, celebrated their day or celebrated their week or their month. That's how we do it, right? So when we meet in groups, it's a remembrance of celebration, and food is part of the celebration. Because even in those days, there'll be fruits, there'll be bread, there'll be meats, there'll be some homemade beer, alcohol, and all those things. There'll be juices and everything for the children. But we always equated celebrations to get together with food. It's just a social thing that we do. But when you start fasting, you start now focusing on that time of break from food, and you start focusing on yourself, more prayer, more rest, more silence, more introspection, more time to do things that you need to do, that has been left and kind of, you know what I mean, neglected because you're focusing on other things. Go for a walk, go for a swim, go and do some sports, do something, because food is a fuel. But now human beings have made it everything in our lives. It's now kind of a hobby. We eat because you're bored, take some nuts, you're always constantly chewing. You're constantly keeping your insulin high, which is causing sicknesses. So there's two things here, right, that's causing a problem. Our emotional reason why we're eating, and the physical reasons why we're eating, and the social reasons why we're eating. Emotion, we're eating to numb ourselves down. We want to the dopamine split into our bloodstream so we can be more happy. And then emotionally, okay, well, we're eating because yeah, you're trying to master unhappiness with food. And then socially, you're eating because you're with the family and crowd, and you feel you cannot say no, so you just eat, even if you're not even hungry. So what I like to do is have water. So if I'm a social setting and I know I'm fasting, I have my water, I have my tea, or I have my coffee. Now, when you're fasting, you don't put milk or you don't put sugar in there, no calories, right? But then it makes you feel more social because you're holding something, right? Or you're gonna have, for example, well, with fasting is fasting. Fasting is no food. It's just water and tea. Tea without any calorie stuff like sugar or even milk or cream. You understand? So if I know I'm fasting and I'm going to a family function, I'll have a bottle of water, I'll put apple cider inside, and I'll put lemon. You can put lemon juice in there because it doesn't have much, doesn't have calories as well. You understand? You put it in and you sit and you drink with your straw and you sit. And if you go to a restaurant, you order some hot water with lemon and you sit. There's always a way around. You don't have to break your fast because you're with family. You don't have to. Because remember that if you break your fast with family because you're with family, you got a chance to try again, but it actually affects your mental focus by you breaking your fast. You might as well just get yourself a glass of hot water with lemon, no sugar, no honey, nothing, just lemon and water and drink, or have a cold water with some lemon or apple cider in, and you straw and you're sipping so nice and you're talking. So now you're so social and you're not feeling like out of place because you have something. You're not going to tell them it's just water. They're not going to think it's water. You're just enjoying yourself. You're enjoying the company. You understand? Because we focused on enjoying the food instead of the company. That's what happens. Now we all come in a social gathering and we're all focusing on the food and not focusing on the company. They came to see you. How are you doing? How's everything? I need to tell you something. Did you know this? Did you know that? Now you're connecting on it in another level instead of you focusing on food. Now remember, it's very important in the modern world for us to have a routine of eating. I eat at a certain time, and this time I sleep, and this time I do this. We need structure in the modern world because there's a lot of distractions like social media. So we need structure. I get up in the morning, I do some stretches, I go brush my teeth, I have a shower, I come back or I go to gym, whatever you do, it must always be structured. I sit down and meditate, I read the Bible. You understand? I have a glass of water to hydrate myself. And then only later on around 10, 11, even 12 o'clock, I have breakfast, okay? That's how it works. Then that's your breakfast, you're breaking, was actually your lunch. Because you did all the things you needed to do that's important to you before the food. Because remember, you ate the night before. You have enough calories. Most of us are walking around carrying the calories in a form of fats in our bodies. We've got the energy, our liver stores the energy as well. We can never starve. People do starve, but people in the modern world now, where you intentionally have plenty of food everywhere and you got the resources, you cannot starve. Fasting is not starving. Fasting is a pause. It's a pause of your digestion. It's the pause of you consuming food. Now you're going to consume other things like prayer, the word of God, more positive things. You're going to consume, go outside for a walk, consume the sun, going into your pause, go and do something, consume other things instead of just food. You understand? Stop even spending more time in nature than on social media. We need to be more intentional and structured. So fasting allows you to be more intentional and structured. And it gives you discipline. That's the most important part. It gives you discipline, right? It gives you mental clarity. And what about the fat loss? One reason for fasting may help with fat loss is that it can make it easier for some people to consume fewer calories. Time restricting eating allows you to consume less calories. Fat loss generally occurs when a person consistently uses more energy than they consume over time. So you're using more energy than what you consume. You're moving your body, you're thinking, you're acting, you're taking nature walks, you're fixing things in your garden, or if you're in a garage, do it yourself type of person. You are fixing, you're busy, or you're reading a book, or you are praying or something. You understand? That's the nice part about fasting. It allows you to focus on everything else other than consuming food, so that your body can start consuming the stores that you have in your body. That's what I like. Fasting, it allows me a chance for my body to start consuming the stores in my body, okay? And as somebody with a physical constraint, a physical disability, right, fasting helps me a lot. That's why I haven't gotten too big. Although I pick up weight, a lot of inflammation, you understand, especially through menopause, you get inflammation. So fasting also helps you to reduce inflammation during menopause as well. It's very important. And it also keeps your mind sharp and clear. There's many different reasons why fasting is good. I'm not going to speak about all of them here, but I'm going to speak about the ones that really matter to me as somebody who fasts, right? So fasting is very important, and we should always do it. Even if we do it every 3 months, once every 3 months, or once a month, or even once a week, just do it and try it. It's a lifestyle now. Everybody's doing it for different reasons. There's a mental clarity, there's physical health, there's a lot of reasons why you can fast and the benefits it can give you as well. You understand? Fasting can allow you to connect to God. A lot of people want to connect to spirit. Fasting allows you that, because now you're not focusing on food and consuming food. You're consuming prayer. You're connecting with source. You're aligning yourself with divine source, right? So remember that fasting should not be forced. If you have a medical condition, go and consult your doctor. Very important. Fasting should not be forced. If you are trying fasting for the first time, we haven't done it before, try it first. For example, just move your breakfast to 10 o'clock. If you're used to eating at 7, at 8, move it to 10, right? And then when you're done that, move it to 12. And you keep on moving it up like that until finally you can understand that you can only eat one. You can eat once a day instead of eating 3, 6 times a day. And the money you can also save as well is also important, okay, on the spiritual, no, on the physical, social level, financial level. If you can use fasting to control you, to allow you to be intentional with what you're eating, and when you're eating, you can also save money. Right, that's some of the benefits as well. It can help you in a physical way, in a mental way. A connection with source, with God, can also help you with your finances as well. If you are consuming too much, right, and you're wasting the food. A lot of people go shopping and they buy food that they don't even eat, right? Because at the end of the day, you eat when you're hungry. Eating is not entertainment. You eat when you're hungry. Eating is not entertainment. So fasting allows you to teach you, it teaches you that eating is not entertainment. You eat when you're hungry. You don't eat when you're emotional. When you're emotional, you talk about it, you cry about it, you shout about it, go for a jog or something because you're emotional. You don't run to food. Food is not for numbing your emotions at all. It can do so, but it doesn't work very well for you in the long term. There's a lot of people with obesity, terrible chronic obesity, because they've been numbing their emotions with food 24/7. Now, we need to understand that that's dangerous. You don't want to cut your life short because of food, because you cannot control yourself in food, the food noise. And now we have, well, the popularity of the GPL1 medications like Ozempic and other things now. Now, remember that before you go to medication, try and do the natural way. Go to a doctor. Go to a therapist if you have a problem with food. Don't just run to the medication, because the medication may not help you. That medication doesn't help every person the same way. So it's better to try the normal way. Let me just limit my eating. Or even I go shopping, let me just make a list of healthy foods that I must focus on. People don't write lists. They don't list what they want to buy at the mall or the shop. They go there emotionally, most of the time hungry, and they just take all the things that's not healthy and they don't even need in their, you know what I'm trying to say. So just buying through emotions instead of you going sitting down with intention. It's something about writing things down, because it's very intentional. Your mind is focused. You start thinking clearly and asking yourself, what do I need this week? What do I need today or for the next 3 days? Okay, I need this, I need this, I need bread, I need broccoli, I need fruits, I need this. You write it all down. Yeah, maybe I could get myself some chocolate or chocolate bar, one chocolate bar, a small one, whatever, once a week or whatever. You need to try and learn how to actually discipline yourself. I mean, you have intention. Yeah, I like sweet things. Maybe I will move from chocolate bars to maybe fruits, maybe some sweet fruit, like maybe grapes, rather than just buying chocolate bar. So there's a lot of ways when you are thinking and living in with intention and you're writing things down, how you feel, what you're gonna buy, what you need for this week. It helps your mind connects with your body and your heart and your mind on now connecting the things I love, the things I need. Remember, the mind is about what I need, the heart is what I love. So when you get these two working together, it helps you a lot. So fasting helps that connection with you and your body, your heart and your mind to actually work together instead of you constantly thinking or just focusing on emotion all the time. Now, your mind and your body are both important. So emotions are important. So is your intellect and your cognitive abilities. And how you think is very important as well. So you need to marry these two and integrate them. So that's why fasting is so important, because fasting allows you a time whereby you can say, well, I fasted for 2 days now. I had enough water. I've been good. I've been praying. My sleep has been good. My prayer has been so more wonderful. My meditation. I feel so rested. Some people go as far as saying, I feel so good when I fast. And other people who have not been used to fasting, doing it for the first time, will feel stressed because they are trying something new. Remember that anything new will give you stress because you don't understand that it's something new. You know how to work around it. It will give you a lot of surprises, because fasting also triggers a lot of traumas within you around food, things that you were actually numbing by using food, by eating 6, 8 times a day, and because you're not focusing on your emotions. You understand? That's why fasting is important. Fasting and prayer, if you're a Christian, even if you're Islamic or Jewish person, fasting and prayer is very important. If you are not a religious person, fasting and prayer is also important. Remember, prayer is not about the religion. It's about your spirituality. It's about your connection with God. So is fasting. It's not about religion. It's not a religious practice. It's a connection with you and food. You and food and your body and you and your heart and your mind. These four things that are very, very important. Your body, your mind, you, and food. There's a relationship there. Why are you eating so much? Why do you eating when you're not hungry? What does it really mean to be hungry? Fasting allows you to feel hunger. Then you say, okay, this is hunger now. This is how hunger feels. Because if you have never fasted and you're eating all the time and snacks, 3 meals and then snacks in between, you never get to feel hunger. I mean, there's mental hunger and there's physical hunger. There's emotional hunger as well. So we'll be playing around with all these things. Your physical hunger, your emotional hunger, your mental hunger. You see, so it's kind of a tricky thing to try and work around, but you need to be intentional. But if you really need medical help, go see your doctor, see a specialist, see a psychologist, see a mental practitioner, a physical practitioner that can give you all these advices. Because I'm not a doctor, I'm speaking through my own experience, and I understand that fasting and food is a relationship with yourself. When I can say I had enough, or I can say I can feel I'm hungry. I had enough. Some people don't even know what it feels like to feel satiated. I have enough because they've been eating so much, chronically just eating and eating emotion. They start disconnecting to the satiation feeling. You understand? It's like a bottomless pit where they cannot get full, cannot get enough. It's because they have actually been doing it for so long, overeating for such a long time that has numbed the national physical, psychological feeling of I'm satiated enough. Some people are brought up in homes where you need to finish all your food in your plate. As a child, your parents will say to you, "You gotta finish everything," but mom, I'm full. No, I don't care. Finish the food. That's a bad habit because what it does, you are silencing the child's natural method or trigger of being satiated. Ma, I'm satiated, I had enough. I can't eat anymore. That the mother should understand, but in most cases in homes, the mothers and fathers force you to eat, finish your food in your plate. That's why it's important when you are a mom, a parent, you need to dish out and give food according to what your child consumes, not what you want them to consume, but what you think they should consume, what they consume. You know your children. If a child is a small eater, don't force him to eat more than what they want to eat. If they're a big eater, don't be critical on what they're eating and how much they're consuming, because that also affect them later on in their lives. When you have a parent that says, no, you ate too much, you're eating too much now. You see, both these things can be negative, have a negative effects on children. You're eating too much or you're not eating too little. Eat more. You don't eat too much. You see what I'm trying to say? It affects you on the mental capacity as a person, as a child, especially children. So you must give them that child the autonomy to say, no, I've had enough. The autonomy to say, yes, I need more. Okay? Let them eat until they're satisfied, satiated. And when they finish eat, don't force him to eat more. Don't be too critical when it comes to eating, when it comes to children. Like, for example, when I was younger, I had a problem because my mom was very fixated on dieting and stuff like that. Because of her mentality, whatever I did was what they always watch like how much I ate and stuff like that. And you know, when you go through adolescence, you eat more, you get more plump, your appetite increases at the age of 12, 13, 14, 15. Your appetite goes crazy. Basically, you just want to eat all the time because your hormone, adolescence hormones are surging and seeking balance. So you want to eat because you get emotional as well. Now to handle these emotions, the sexual emotions, the physical emotions, psychological emotions, and then we use food. So, being a parent is not easy, especially when you're trying to bring up children that are balanced. And in most cases, we fail because even us ourselves as adults, as parents, we never get proper foundation from our own parents as well. So the most important thing to do is don't force your children to eat and don't tell them they're eating too little. You need to work with the child. Every person is different. Every child is different. Now, I'm talking about children specifically about children because our life begins as children. Our first experiences with food starts as children. Okay, same as with money or anything else. It all starts as children. And as children, we absorb everything about our parents and what they're doing, how they relate to food, how they feel about food. We start having unhealthy habits with food and unhealthy relationship with food because we picked it up with our parents. You know, they overate, they were obese, they never said no, they finished plates from it, even if they were full. They ate because they were emotional. Like, for example, a lot of ladies that went through heartbreak, they go to for ice cream because the pain and frustration looking for dopamine fix with ice cream and chocolate, sometimes even alcohol, you know, to numb you because alcohol is full of sugar. You understand? So we run to these things. So your emotions and food are very much connected, and it now causes things like diabetes, and obesity as well. So it's very important to understand the connection with food and emotions, right? So when we're talking about fasting, fasting helps you to have a better relationship with food, but you need to start slow. Don't go straight into 24-hour fast and you've never fasted all your life. Your body is going to resist it because your mind is going to resist it. It's not used of it. You need to go gradually into fasting. But if you have a sickness or an ailment, go and consult your doctor first. If you're on medications, if you're on diabetes, go to consult your doctor first. Very, very important, right? So fasting, you start gradually. You take away one meal, you move it further down. Okay, I'm going to skip breakfast, go straight to lunch. Or I'll skip lunch and go straight to supper. Or I'll just have lunch and won't eat breakfast or supper. I'll have a big lunch. You understand? We'll have all my components, 1,300 calories to 1,500 calories, depending on your body needs, your weight, and your height. Very important, right? Very important. You need to understand yourself because you're not like your neighbor next door. You're not the same as me or any other person. You are unique. So your fasting and your eating regime and habits should be focused on your well-being, not on somebody else's well-being. You see what I'm trying to say? So we come from homes where everybody just eats everything. We all ate the same food. And we're all forced to encourage to eat the same amounts of food. And yes, our bodies are different. Our body needs are different. You understand? That's very important. But fasting is very useful method for you to connect with your body and your appetite, your mind, and your emotions. Fasting is a very, very effective method to connect with source as well, with yourself and yeah, and your mind and your heart. It's a very good way of connecting. That's how I'll end my live today, guys. So remember that fasting, if you have a physical problem, a medical condition, go consult with your doctor before you fast. I, per se, don't have any medical condition. I just happen to be somebody with a physical disability. I don't have a medical condition. So when I'm fasting, I fast according to how I feel and my history with fasting, right? If I was somebody with a medical condition, I would consult my doctor first. Very important because you don't want to fast to make yourself sick. You want to fast to make yourself feel better. You want to make your life better. So you need to consult with your doctor first if you have a medical condition, right before you fast. So guys, have a great day further. Enjoy the Saturday. Enjoy your life. Enjoy every moment of the day. And be kind to yourself and others. And remember that what you consume is very important with your eyes and with your mouth. Very, very important. Just be careful where you put your body, your vessel, where you put your vessel, because your body is very, very important to your life experience. Okay. So take care of yourself and be kind to yourself and to others as well. So have a great day further and see you next time. And remember, if you have not as yet, subscribe to my channel because I'm building my numbers. My channel is South African. I'm from South Africa. I am streaming from South Africa at this time. So I'm based in South Africa. So if you are interested in this type of topics, spirituality, self-awareness, self-development, the human condition, how to become a better person, how to live a better life, how to get along with other people as well, go ahead and subscribe to my channel, right? And thank you for joining my community if you choose to do so. Have a great Saturday further and be kind to yourself and others.